Great days and glorious victory! My name is Spifflemonk and welcome to my Let's Play. Today I am back from my medically mandated break from playing human video games after a rather cathartic experience with a game called Teardown. Subnautica, even among humans, is labelled as a notorious experience with mixed reception for its sequel. A survival crafting game, apparently. I have experience with those, so presumably the gameplay loop should be predictable enough. So, let's go in. Spiffle starts the game going for standard survival mode, with aspects of food and water mechanics alongside health and oxygen. The game loads very, very fast with Spiffle's overpowered computer, and the introduction sequence begins. The camera pans to the panicked sight of the player character, moving down a ladder, followed by a sight of a starship above exploding. Oh dear, oh dear. They weren't kidding about survival. Do I even survive this, or am I a ghost or something? The pod rattles, the screen shakes, a fire extinguisher falls from its mounting. Velocity causes the pod to dislodge a panel from a wall, as it flies around the cabin. The panel flies into the player's screen, making it go black. Oh. Well, okay then. Well. Spiffle's character awakens and panics at the button securing him to the seat. Spiffle quickly figures out that fire in this game is in fact bad, and grabs the fire extinguisher, putting the fire out. The game's introduction plays, showing his PDA, the game's inventory UI. Oh! I have seen these things in real life when visiting human stations. Do all humans have these? Spiffle starts exploring the escape pod, noting all of the damage to the radio beacon and the wiring panel. Craft the repair tool. Well, for later, I suppose. Now how do I... Ah! The ladder! Spiffle clicks on the ladder and goes through the animation. The character exits and dramatically stands. Spiffle looks around. His face visibly pales as he looks in every direction, finding the only thing nearby that looks safe, or like land, is the destroyed ship in the distance. Water. It's water everywhere. How big is this game's map? Structural hull failure? 0 human life signs detected. That's not nice. Well, here we go. Spiffle jumps into the water. His mood changes, the underwater environment significantly different than above ground. The water is absolutely teeming with life and colour, as Spiff swims towards a reef to stare at some coral. Spiff gets distracted and starts chasing a fish, specifically a peeper, and grabs it. Oh, good God, that's how humans catch fish? That's very inefficient. What is this thing? Can I eat it? I know I'm supposed to take care of my food and water, so how do I eat it? Spiffle wanders about for a while, gathering resources and exploring his general location, eventually getting back to the pod. He has gathered up a decent amount of stuff while he was swimming around, and accessed the fabricator to see what was available. Ah, I see. The fabricator cooks things too. Cooked fish thing, and these transparent fish give me water bottles? Okay then. Well, sorted for food anyway. Let's see. Copper wire, batteries, a scanner? Does that mean I can, scan things and tell what they are? And oxygen tank. Oh, hell yes. I'll build that then. Spiffle goes through the process of building a few things, checking out how the game's crafting system works, and spending more time collecting resources. He quickly realizes how much work he has to do, and finally finishes making a scanner. Okay, well then. I can see how much time is going to be spent collecting resources, so I'm going to edit all of that out, and keep you all in the loop on all the fun parts instead. Spiffle continues playing, inserting a creative, albeit mildly annoying fanciful scene transition in between resource loops. He comes to a cave looking for salt to make more equipment, when he encounters the first hostile enemy of the game, the crash fish. He does not notice it at first. The strange, sloppy noise it makes as its pod opens, the beast makes a terrible gurgling noise and charges straight at him. What is that? Oi! Up! Oi! 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 What are you? What up? Spiffle is cut off as the fish explodes, causing him to lose half his health. He quickly surfaces and takes a breath.
Okay then. Okay, that makes absolutely no sense from an evolutionary perspective. But okay then. Avoid those. What even was that? I can't even scan it because it was moving so fast. Cuts. Exploding fish.
Spiffle shakes his head and resumes his hunt for resources, eventually finding enough for a repair tool. He makes the repair of the pod's broken wiring and looks around a bit more, noting some of the details in the game.
Hard to believe these games are over 800 years old. I keep getting requests to play them good old games instead of any new releases. Maybe I'll get to those eventually. I have quite the backlog though.
Spiffle quickly tabs out and shows the huge list of human-made games on his list that he has been gifted or purchased himself. The list includes Space Marine, Starship Troopers, Spyro Trilogy, Crash Bandicoot, and so many more.
I am also told about this thing called anime, whatever that is. Maybe I should look into that. Anyway.
Spiffle shrugs for now and resumes playing, swimming around for a bit before finally deciding to use his scanner. He gets the first scan, the acid mushroom, and painstakingly reads the supplied article. He then goes on a scanning frenzy, scanning each thing he can find, comically chasing after various fish and objects, trying to scan them, then taking an irritatingly long time to read the article aloud. He gets to the point where he encounters his first real hostile enemy and tries to scan it. The stalker, of course, doesn't appreciate that, and attacks.
Oh, what's this thing? Oh, lovely, it's a big one. Can I scan it? The stalker. Oh, okay, it is friend. Ow! No, go away!
Spiffle panics and scans it while running away from it, trying to swim backwards. He's so focused on scanning it, he can't run far enough away that he gets ambushed by another stalker nearby and manages to scan it just as he gets hit with his first death in the game.
Oh, okay. Well, it seems things aren't as friendly as expected. I'm going to guess there's more things like that around. So, I'm just going to finish working on repairs and equipment, then I'll take those things on.
Spiffle reads the article on the stalker he scanned, and spends more time collecting resources, scanning local entities, and building the rest of the gear he has. Fins, high-capacity O2 tank, rebreather, and some more food and water, which he stores in floating containers for later. He starts to explore a bit farther in search of fragments to scan, and finds a sand shark, as well as a biome resembling a desert-like area. He encounters his first piece of the wrecked ship here.
Oh, hello! Pieces of wreckage! What are these for now, do you suppose? Can I disassemble these for resources, or... Oh, is that a door? Oh, I'm supposed to go in here and look for things? How do I get in? Oh, I can't. I need a laser cutter. Is one of those here? Need more fragments, I guess.
Spiffle gives up trying to enter and goes up for air, then returns to the floor to hunt for fragments. He eventually unlocks the bioreactor, pieces of the scanner room, a couple of fragments of the sea glide, and Seamoth. He comes across the first cave entrance to the Mushroom Caves biome.
Oh my, that's deep. Good thing I unlocked the Seamoth thing. It's a miniature submarine, I think. I can use that. But that's kinda scary. I can't see the bottom. I kinda just see purple. Mostly purple. But it scares me that I can't see the bottom.
Spiffle hangs around the cave entrance for a bit, before a call for oxygen forces him to the surface. He swims back down to the cave entrance and then hangs around a bit longer, before once again resurfacing, heading for some new things to scan. It is, however, at this point that Spiffle's exploration is cut short. Emergency. Seismic readings suggest a quantum detonation has occurred in the Aurora's drive core. The central dark matter reactor will reach a supercritical state in... The computer aboard the PDA shakes Spiff out of his daze, and he quickly rushes to the surface and looks at the ship.
Wait, what's that? What's going on? I see the ship, the Aurora. That's what its name is? What's a dark matter reactor and what?
The computer continues its countdown, muffled by Spiff's panic squealing, and he has a front row seat to one of the most spectacular explosions in the history of gaming. The Aurora's reactor detonation. It happens. The world goes dead silent for a short moment, and one can see Spiffle's heart visibly stop beating. Then, explosion, as the Aurora lets out his magnificent blast. As the shockwave expands outwards, Spiff's skin visibly turns a paler shade of blue, and his eyes go wide. The sound of a Geiger counter follows, leaving him breathless and pale, as the world suddenly goes dead quiet again. The sound of the Geiger counter ominously leaving him shaken even more than he already is. For your convenience, the radiation suit has been added to your blueprints. Spiffle stays completely silent, bobbing in the water for a solid few minutes, staring in shocked wonder at what he just witnessed. He regains his composure for a few short moments and returns to his scanning venture, but one can easily see he isn't in the right mind after that. He returns to the seabed, at the entrance to the mushroom caves, and dives again. He does this several more times, popping up to the surface, looking at the shipwreck, then diving at the entrance again. Finally, after much hesitation, he dives one last time.
Screw it. It's just a game, right?
He smiles at the camera with a shrug and swims far below the surface, into one of the caves. As he enters the cavern, his jaw drops at the sight of a massive underwater cavern filled with gigantic glowing pink mushrooms. The mushroom caves, as they are known. He spots something in the distance, entranced, forgetting his oxygen situation. He can't get far, however, and a terrifying shriek of some unknown entity shakes him out of his stupor.
What in the red dawn was that noise?
Spiff can't finish asking his invisible audience what's going on, as he strays too close to a mushroom, occupied by a crab snake, a gigantic sea worm. He is grabbed from behind, spun around, and he visibly panics, as the giant worm digs its enormous tusks into Spiffle's character. Spiffle immediately freaks out, a combination of both the terrifying shriek emitted by the creature and the shock of being attacked makes poor Spiffle jump out of his seat and duck under the table.
Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away!
The worm comes back and finishes Spiff off before his oxygen runs out. Spiff's character respawns, but the footage continues. A slight whimper can be heard in the background as Spiff hides under the desk. This carries on for a few minutes, and his head very slowly appears above the desk. He gingerly puts himself back in his seat and breathes heavily for a bit. When he finally gains control, he tabs out of the game and takes a look at the wiki for Subnautica. He returns a few moments later and stares at the camera in that strange, haunting glare he's become so famous for.
Why do you stupid developers not put guns in the game if you have shit like that? Are you insane?
He grabs the camera and shakes it violently as he rants at it, questioning why there are guns in every other human game he has played, and not this specific game, especially considering how there are giant water snake monsters that eat your face in a game with no guns. He rants for a good minute or two, then plays his outro. Top comment. Are you absolutely sure after Teardown, Factorio and Project Zomboid you should be playing Subnautica? I mean, seriously, try something less psychologically terrifying. It's known as Thalassophobia Simulator for a reason.
Great days and glorious victory. My name is Spifflemonk, and I still don't understand why we have giant worm monsters, but we have no guns.
Spiffle stares at the camera with an expression that can only be summarized as, "Seriously, bruh?" and resumes his last playthrough. He becomes confused at the lack of stuff in his inventory.
Why do I not have... Oh, right. I was eaten. When you die, your inventory is wiped. I need to build more tools then.
Spiffle starts some silly music, an alien version of Benny Hill to a montage of him collecting resources, occasionally ranting at various oddities and questioning game logic. He restores all of his tools, then goes hunting for a vehicle bay fragment so he can build the Seamoth. He continues to scan what he can, developing something of an obsession with the task, then painstakingly reading every word about it to try and understand it. It is at this point Spiffle, during his explorations, finds another derelict chunk of ship near the desert region, encountering his first sand shark.
What is this? Oh, careful, Spiff. This one looks angrier than the last one you found. What in oblivion?
Spiffle's attention is once again diverted by the appearance of a reefback leviathan and its signature low drone. This one appears to be a fully grown adult.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. A Jahara eelfish? What is that doing in a human video game?
Spiffle squeaks in shock as he sees a creature that is an absolute spitting image of a large oceanic-dwelling sea creature, which is both the game's and his native homeworld's version of a whale. The reefback has some dissimilarities, but is close enough to the real thing that Spiffle is genuinely shocked. He quickly pauses the game, opening various Wikipedia articles, then displays a full picture of both Subnautica in-game reefback and the Jahara kauraha, colloquially known as a Jahara eelfish, a shockingly similar creature that lives in his homeworld's oceans. The only difference between them is the colour of the exterior chitin shell. The reefback has a blue-purple shell. The Jahara eelfish's chitin has a red-green shell.
When was this game made?
Spiff checks. The current Earth date is the year 2886. Humanity only entered the galactic community in 2752. Subnautica was released in 2018.
How? How is that even possible? You didn't even know the galaxy existed until only a few decades ago, yet you almost perfectly match the appearance of one of our homeworld's native species. How is this even possible? Okay, if the name matches, then I have to call bullshit.
Spiffle approaches and scans it, then reads the data article.
Reefback Leviathan. Oh, thank God. Now, let's see. A herbivorous creature that likely got so large due to the fact that its predators went extinct. Well, that's okay. A hard chitinous shell of multiple layers, a microcosm of different creatures and flora growing from its back, hence the name.
Spiffle gets that cold, empty stare on his face and glares menacingly at the camera. The screen goes black, then resumes, seeing Spiffle nursing a beverage of some kind while wrapped in a blanket.
I realize something. Call it a message from the ancestors or a divine revelation, but I have a funny feeling this isn't going to be the last time I see a creature from the galaxy represented in human media. I hope to the gods that doesn't happen. The concept of this situation is nothing short of terrifying. In any case, I'm sorry about that. Let's continue.
Spiffle resumes where he left off, doing his usual routine of scanning, then obsessively reading. Eventually, he unlocks the vehicle bay and returns home to his pod, where the situation with resources is growing obscene, with at least 50 floating resource containers hovering around the area.
Alright, a vehicle bay. This means I can build things like the Seamoth now. This will be nice. Right. I shall, for the sake of my audience, skip the resource collection mechanic that's here and focus on the actual result. I shan't waste my time either, though. Montage!
Spiff yells excitedly, and a montage of that same odd Benny Hill type music plays out, with him collecting the resources he needs to build both machines. Most of it is already in the floating containers strewn about. With a few visits to the fabricator, he compiles the power cell, titanium ingot and lubricant he needs to make the vehicle bay. He deploys it and chases it to the surface, just away from the pod, in the deeper end of the shallows.
Right, not too hard. Let's see then, how do... get on it and... The Seamoth. Cost of 2 glass, 1 titanium ingot, a power cell, lead and lubricant. Right.
He quickly gathers and makes everything he needs for the Seamoth, then stands on the platform ready to go. He chooses the Seamoth's recipe and the sequence starts. His eyes light up as drones start flying around the platform, then begins assembling, atom by atom, the small, adorable mini-sub known as the Seamoth. It finishes the process and flops into the water with a splash.
My gosh, look at this thing. It's so cute.
Spiffle explores the sub for a little while and hops inside it, testing the controls and playing around with it a bit to see what it can do.
Maximum depth, 200 meters. So if I go below that, does it implode or something? I need to be careful of that. Oh, damn it, I remember. I have to make that radiation suit, don't I? I shall do so now.
Spiffle seems to have found a new resolve, quickly gathering resources together and making both a sea glide and radiation suit in short order.
Does this thing have any weapons? How do I repair? Oh, repair tool? That makes it easier, I suppose. Now, where do I go now? Is there anything I can do?
Spiffle stumbles about in the blind for a few minutes, trying to figure out his next course of action beyond simply wandering aimlessly while scanning things. He gets back in the pod and fixes the radio beacon. His face visibly contorts into an expression of irritation when he hears his rescue is in 9999 hours. He resolves to come back every now and then to check the radio. He decides to gather more resources to make up for building the Seamoth, and comes back a bit later. He finds a radio transmission when he returns. Radio. 9 new biological subjects designated. Mode hunting, analyzing. Sharing subject locations with other agents.
What in the 9 hells was that? Why was it in such an odd voice? What was that language? What were those letters? Something's going on here. So, now what? I have the radiation suit, I guess. Go into the Aurora? Oh no, I'm not going in there unprepared. Let me make some tools and spare batteries, then I'll go in. I need more fragments is what I need.
Spiffle resumes his fragment hunt, looking around for fragments of various tools. He uses the Seamoth to traverse around.
Whee!
Spiff seems more than just a bit happy, as he trundles around in the Seamoth, using his speed to launch himself out of the water. He splashes about a bit, testing the limits of the craft and trying to see what holes he can squeeze himself into or out of, and how deep he can go.
Okay, time to get to serious work. Now, I need to find a laser cutter and a stasis rifle. Wait, rifle? That means gun! I need a gun!
Spiffle charges forward towards the desert biome, where he found the reef bag and resumes his search for things to scan. It is now he comes across a Reginald.
What is this fish? Wait, let me just...
He gets out of the Seamoth and scans it.
Reginald. That's a fish? It's so cute. Wait, come back, friend.
Spiffle spends an unreasonable amount of time trying to catch a Reginald. When he finally catches one, he gets back in the Seamoth and heads towards the Aurora, new friend in tow. He trundles over to the side of the crashed ship and scans some random stuff here and there, finding fragments to a few small items, including a few he needs, such as a power cell charger for the Seamoth's battery. He gets close to the front of the ship, and the haunting, evil noise of Subnautica's most iconic killer suddenly echoes through the gloomy water.
What was that? Is it another worm thing? Please don't let it be one of those.
Spiffle wanders around the side for a bit longer. An ominous shadow looms in the background, catching his eye. He ignores it for the moment and simply carries on, eventually arriving at the entrance to the ship. Through the mangled steel and fire, he squeezes into the front of the ship and looks around. The environment ominously rattles, and his screen shakes as the ship's structure isn't exactly stable. The howl of the creature in the shadows makes Spiff even more uncomfortable.
I do not like this. I really don't.
Spiff parks the Seamoth where he can see a ramp leading up, and gets out. He is immediately accosted by cave crawlers and uses his knife to defend himself. Poorly, but he gets rid of the 3 or 4 around him. Warning: scans show the digestive tracts of indigenous life forms contain human tissue. Spiff's face turns an even paler shade of blue, and he swallows visibly, as if he's trying not to vomit.
Ish. I can scan this thing and read it later. I don't want to be here any longer than I have to.
Spiff scans and follows the path to the interior, using his fire extinguisher to put out some fires in the area, and gets inside. The ship rumbles as he wanders around, and gets into one of the rooms. He finds the poster of the prawn suit.
Ooh, a poster thing? Can I take it, or... I can! Prawn suit, eh? Can I actually use that thing?
Spiff takes the poster, scans some furniture, and collects a PDA. Spiff continues down the corridor and retrieves his propulsion cannon from his inventory, and uses it to pick up some furniture in the way.
I am so glad I got this thing from scanning the area before I came here. This is super useful. I wonder if it has other uses.
He gets to the door and looks at his databank.
Here it is. Code for the door is 1454. Right.
Spiff moves through, repairing a door to get the Seamoth depth upgrade module. He continues and clears the fire to enter the main reactor. His inner loot goblin shines through, and grabs the Cyclops engine efficiency module before he starts work and repairs, scanning the breach and starting work. It doesn't take him long, but he gets issues with a bleeder that lives in the waters. He scans one, then finishes repairs. Foolishly, he uses the propulsion cannon and shoots the bleeder at one of the reactors, undoing his work. He looks at the damage he caused, and repairs it.
Well, what was I expecting? Why did I do that? It's a cannon! Why did I aim it at the reactor, exactly? So stupid.
Spiff finishes, and heads to the prawn bay, and looks around at the damage. He spots the prawn suits and starts scanning, grabbing a storage module upgrade from a console, and starts extinguishing flames so he can scan. He runs out of fire extinguisher juice, though.
Blast! Can I still scan these if they're on fire?
Spiff walks around, finding cheeky angles he can use, and scans the debris, finding all 4 fragments he needs. He heads upstairs and goes through the rooms and everything he can find. He gets into the galley, and sees the Kitty Inner Space Helmet poster.
What the... Keep calm? What in the blue balls is this? It's... cute. What is this creature? Can I keep this? I can!
Spiffle excitedly grabs the poster and moves on. He goes through cabins, picks up PDAs, and collects the Natural Selection 2 poster, the prawn suit in the sea poster, and the collectible arcade toy in the locked cabin. Lacking the code to the captain's cabin, he returns to the prawn bay and tries swimming around, eventually finding a passage in the whole debris to the rest of the ship. He moves through in silence, recovers the black box data, and exits the ship. He removes debris, grabs the local wildlife with the cannon, and tosses them into fires or the water with glee.
Begone, beast! Ha! Right, where did I park? Oh, there it is. Should I go home? I wonder if there are any fragments I can use around here.
Spiff exits, finding Lifepod 4 floating upside down on the surface of the water. He collects the PDA data and a new blueprint. Then, as he gets in the Seamoth, the horrifying roar of the Reaper Leviathan suddenly sounds. Spiff is thrown into a panic, screams in terror, and tries desperately to get away. The beast appears with jaw chomping and claws clawing at the poor Seamoth. The entire time, Spiffle is screeching like a bird with a broken leg, his entire body now an almost ghostly white out of absolute terror.
Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, no, 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 go away, go away!
Spiffle manages to get out of his grip and, in a panic, charges away towards his life pod and continues to scream, breathing hard between screams. He gets to the pod and then hides under his desk, continuing to scream. His channel outro plays. Top comment. This has been translated from Eridani.
I am starting to believe this whole soldier was a very bad idea. Do you humans have those kinds of beasts on your homeworld? How did you even survive them?
Response. Lol. No, we never had Reapers. The only Leviathan-class creatures we have on our planet are whales, and they're mostly peaceful plankton eaters. Mostly. Response. Translated from Eridani.
Seriously? I think I find it more terrifying that these creatures are made up in your minds. What kind of nightmares do you people have to be able to create this level of fiction?
Response. Do not ask. This is only Subnautica. We have far worse. Spiffle's response. You're going to make me play these far worse, aren't you? Response. Damn right we are.
Great days and glorious victory. My name is Spiffle Monk, and welcome back to Subnautica.
Spiffle looks visibly stronger, his usual lanky appearance now looking like he's been working out like a gym bro. One can see muscles on muscles, and Spiff seems to have an abnormal amount of energy.
I am now relaxed. It is now time to get eaten by giant scary sea monsters. And yes, before you ask, I have successfully finished fully soundproofing my office. And also yes, I am indeed expecting a new addition to the brood. Thanks, damn humans. You and your damn musical magic nonsense.
Spiffle starts the game and is swimming outside the pod next to the Seamoth. The first thing he does is repair the Seamoth from the damage incurred by the Reaper, and recounts what he's been up to, checking inventory and equipment. He heads to the radio and gets a new transmission. Radio. This is Avery Quinn of Trading Ship Sunbeam. Aurora, do you read? Over. Nothing but vacuum. These Altera ships. They run low on engine grease, they send an SOS. You offer to help, they don't pick up. Aurora, we're out on the far side of the system. It's going to take more than a week to reach your position. Do you still need our assistance? Over. I'll try them again tomorrow. Damn charter's gonna have us wasting our profit margin running errands for Altera. See what the long-range scanner picks up in the meantime.
Oh, lovely. There are people in this game. I wonder when they will be here. Meh, I have things to build, so I'll keep an eye.
Spiffle resolves himself to start building a base, trying to find a good spot. He finds the mushroom forest biome and starts gathering resources to ferry them around. He installs the depth module and the storage module to the Seamoth, then builds the moon pool. The mushroom biome becomes one of his favourite spots, and a close encounter with a jelly ray cements it.
Those creatures are beautiful. Look, jelly ray. It's glowing blue and pretty. I love that. Oh, I have a new radio message. I need to listen to that then.
Spiff returns to the pod and listens to the message. Radio. Aurora, this is Sunbeam again. We just picked up a massive debris field at your location. I didn't know how bad. How many of you? I didn't know. We are now en route to your location. We're going to bring you home. Sunbeam out. What else can I say? The only time I parked a rig this big on a rock that small was in VR, and I blew it. Oh, it's a bad optional ride, but so are all the others. Spiff smiles and carries on working, parking the Seamoth inside after powering everything up.
So lovely, but is that a win condition? I know human games by now, I have played enough of them. Is that a win condition? Get rescued? I don't know.
Spiffle carries on building for a little and gets the storage system up, spending a few in-game days transporting resources to his new base. He returned to the pod and played a new radio message, again from the Sunbeam. Radio. This is Sunbeam. You know, Aurora, we're from a little Transgov on the far side of Andromeda, and we have a saying there. There's no bad without the good. No good without the bad. Sounds like you tasted a bunch of the former, but that only means you're overdue a whole lot of the latter. Might just be we're it. We're scanning for somewhere to park. We'll be in touch when we find it. Sunbeam out.
Oh, that's a lovely saying. What was that, there's no bad without the good, no good without the bad. I like that. I think I'll have that framed on my wall. Now, let's see. I can give the Seamoth a name? Oh, okay. I can customize the color, too. I think I'll just do this.
Spiff leaves the name as Seamoth for now, changing the color to a mix of purple for the main and blue for the trim and name color. His two favorite colors. Spiffle does a little more work, acquiring the last fragments for the Cyclops, and starts gathering together the resources necessary to build it.
Cyclops. Personal large-scale submarine capable of carrying other vehicles. Ooh, I want to build that. I need to fetch the vehicle bay, though. I'm almost done moving house.
Spiff returns and packs up the last of his resources, then gets another radio message. Radio. Aurora, we're approaching the planet now, and we have a landing site for you that's, well, it's better than the alternatives. We've sent you the coordinates. It'll take us a couple of days to align our orbit. We should be able to establish direct contact with you during that time. Then we're coming in to get you. Cross your fingers the weather holds, and don't leave us waiting. Sunbeam out. Spiffle gets a new beacon on his HUD. Sunbeam landing site.
What? Is this game over if I'm there? Okay. Well, at least it's no longer terrifying. I'll get the seam off and go for the beacon then. I hope it's okay. Strange. This doesn't feel like the end, you know? But if it is, then it is.
Spiff heads home, deploys the vehicle bay, and deposits his gear and resources. He heads towards the location, occasionally squealing, "Whee!" as he uses the Seamoth to jump out of the water like a dolphin. However, he miscalculates and the Seamoth jumps up, out, and sustains a bit of damage as it hits a rock formation close to the surface. He gets out, repairs it, and looks at the camera.
Why, no, I didn't just damage my Seamoth by having too much fun. I don't know what you're talking about.
Spiffle smirks at the camera with a glare and carries on. Eventually, he encounters the largest of the islands in the world.
What? This has been here the whole time? Is this an island? Who cares? Land! Sweet land!
Spiffle now notices the timer and hops onto the island from his Seamoth. He walks up to the landing zone and stops dead in his tracks at the site of the massive alien structure known as the Quarantine Enforcement Platform. In essence, a giant alien cannon. What the beep
is that?
Spiffle's editing has gotten better, his editor learning how to censor Spiffle's foul language, in both English and Eridani. He moves closer to the building, scanning the broken tablet and the force field controls.
What is this? I mean, it's clearly alien. What do the codex entries say? Possible to reconstruct the device. Oh, I can make more of these then. Matches no known technologies. Functions like a lock. Okay then, so standard video game logic, I guess. That's nice. So a purple tablet will unlock the gate there. What are those?
Spiff moves towards the cairns marking the way into the island, pathways leading up the mountainside. He follows them, finding a purple tablet in the process on one of the pathways.
Oh, lovely. That saves me resources in the trip, I guess. This pathway keeps going, though. Well, we still have 30 minutes, so let's go.
Spiff explores the pathway, getting lost a bit before finally figuring that following the large cables is a good idea. He comes across the teleportation arch and scans it, in between dodging the cave crawlers.
Right, let's see. Alien arch. Not much to speak of here. Maybe this thing will be useful later, I guess. Likely.
Spiffle continues exploring and eventually finds himself back in the force field with another 20 minutes to go.
Screw it. Let's go.
Spiff activates the force field platform and the animation of the key being placed plays out. He moves into the building, activating both data platforms and acquiring 2 ion cubes for later, scanning everything he thinks he can scan. He enters the moon pool in the bay and gets 2 more ion cubes, plus data on a rifle and a doomsday device. He ignores it for now, acquiring 1 more purple tablet and accessing the control room.
Right. What's in here? Energy core. Right. I shall scan that and press button?
Spiff presses the button. An animation plays where a device locks his character's hand in place, viciously stabs it with a pointy metal bit, and then releases it.
Oh gods, what the hell? Why is that? That's just nasty.
The terminal is broadcasting a message. Translation reads, "Warning, infected individuals may not disable the weapon. This planet is under quarantine."
Quarantine? What? Infected? Hold on.
Spiffle gets his scanner out and performs a self-scan. It is only now he notices something very bad has happened.
Infected? Wait, what?
Cell scan complete. Detecting statistically significant bacterial levels. No adverse effects detected. Be vigilant for symptoms.
Oh, brilliant. Does that mean I can't leave? I knew it. Wait. Weapon? This is a weapon?
Spiffle panics and runs out of the facility as fast as he can, and waits the last few minutes for the sunbeam to arrive. Sure enough, it does. In the last 30 seconds, the sunbeam plays a message. Radio. "Survivor, we see you. Man, I don't know how you held out down there." The sunbeam's message plays, and Spiffle gasps in terror from the sound of the gun platform starting up and starting to move around. Radio. "We've broken atmosphere and we're descending towards the landing site." "Is that a building down there? What do you mean you can't identify it?" The radio powers up and turns, aiming itself high at the sky. Radio. "Hold on, no turning back now. Positions, everyone, touching down in 10, 9, 8. The weapon charges up and a loud, vicious hum can be heard echoing through the valley. Radio. "It's coming from the building? Change course. Set thrusters to full." The radio goes to static. The weapon fires and the sunbeam is vaporized instantly by a massive blast of bright green light. The sunbeam disappears, its whole structure completely disintegrated. Spiffle sits in stunned silence as the platform returns to a stable position, shuts down, and everything goes quiet.
Well, okay then. That was horrifying. I guess that's all we have time for. Oh dear.
Spiffle looks a bit defeated as he sits back in his seat.
See you next time, I guess. Holy shit.
Channel outro plays. Top comment. "Are you okay? You seem a little bit too disturbed by that. It's fine though. Compared to what happens in the Rise of the Ancients mod, this is tame. Lol. I love that mod." Spiffle's response.
Please don't make me play that mod.